Cool, can everybody see and hear me okay? Hopefully it's all working nice and neatly. Famous last words. Hi Kinghorn. Hey Ravenhack. Just want to make sure actually streaming okay. So can you guys put the number 3 in the chat so I can see what the delay is on here? Hey Red Knight. Okay, so that's not too bad. That's about the same as last time. That's quite cool. Okay guys, so a bit of an impromptu kind of like live stream. Haven't really planned this out, just thought I'll go live and we can just create something. So we can possibly do Erronfold Banesworth, the narrator from the last Ben 10 Aliens and Dragons video. He's kind of like a demon, well I say demon, he's kind of like a beast slayer. So we'll probably put him together, or we can do a random vote in the chat for stuff, and people can chuck ideas out, and whichever one's got the kind of like most votes we can do. Okay, so yeah, I will tell you what, I'll create a poll quickly. Alright, I can only do 4 options, so I'm just going to pick 4. Oh, I can only do 4 options, and there's quite a few nice ones in there. If Glitch is on about the Netflix show, that Sea Beasts one, it's quite good. I'll only be doing 1 character, by the way, just so you guys know. I'll do 1 character, and I'm only going to stream for about an hour or 2 tonight, and if we don't complete it, I will pick up again in another stream, finishing off where we left off. Minecraft Venomized. I've got another Minecraft D&D episode lined up, so I want to do something a bit different tonight. Cartoons that Star Wars button. I'll chuck these 4 down and we'll see what happens. So you guys should be able to vote on the poll, and we'll give it a couple minutes and then we will see which one wins, and we will start planning that out and start coming up with what we're going to do with it, which will be quite fun and quite interesting. Kick your Chad Jetstream Sam as a dragon. Any Monster Hunter creatures as a Horizon robot. Oh, Uniform Banjo, Venomized Cuphead. I do want to do something else with Cuphead coming up. I know the DLC's kind of run down, but I had a lot of fun doing Cuphead as Transformers, so I want to do something else. Venomizing is possibly on the list, but I'm also looking to do something SCP related at some point. But I'm going to do something slightly different to what Popcross has done with them. I know he's done SCP characters as dragons, Pokemon as SCPs. I'm trying to find something unique and different, but I've been getting into the lore a lot recently, so that'll be quite fun. Well, Derpy Pincer, I will do a Minecraft Venomized episode at some point, and Elder Guardian. I had quite a lot of fun in the last D&D episode, turning him into an Elder Guardian Sea Elf, so I will definitely be doing more of that character. What have we got up here? Do we know? So 50% of the folks are on the Trandoshan. Uh-oh. Have I got a technical issue here? Am I going to quickly have to swap this round? I'm guessing you guys can see the green flashing bit on the screen, yeah? Yeah, that's not a good sign. Got no idea what's happening. Got excellent connection. The cables are all good. Well, only on a live stream, eh? Hopefully that's fixed it. So yeah, yep, I think everybody saw the green screen of death for the iPad instead of the blue screen of death that you get with Windows, but hopefully we won't get that again. Have we got long enough on here? So 12, 12, 24, 50. A Trandoshan from Star Wars Venomized. I think Venomized Toothless, you're going to get your wish, and I'm going to draw a character I've never drawn before, so I'll definitely be pulling up a reference for this. Yep, okay, looks like we're going to be doing a It is a Trandoshan. I think that's the right way of pronouncing it. If I've butchered the name, I do apologise. I'll just pull up a reference image. Oh, they're those weird lizard-like creatures, aren't they? Oh, this could be quite fun. This could be a fair bit of fun. Okay, so we're going to do the character and we're going to end up venomizing them. So it's going to be no venomization one because that's what we put on there, but everybody wants to see it get venomized, so let's do that. Just let me get the reference picture up a bit larger so I can see. Okay, so a giant lizard creature with makeshift armor. Hey guys. Okay, so let's create a new document. Let's figure out a pose for this creature. I've got a few reference images up, but I kind of want to just find the right balance for a pose for the character. It's going to be quite an interesting one. Ooh, Galahound, SCPs in D&D is one concept I did think about. I've also thought about SCPs as Transformers before it got mentioned, and I think the person who mentioned it's in the chat. I did see it on code, but I was thinking of doing something along those lines, which would be quite cool. So yeah, in case anybody's wondering what I'm looking at, I've got the chat on the screen here where it's a bit larger, just off to the side. So I'm just looking through the kind of like the pictures and the chat, so bouncing between the two. Yu-Gi-Oh! Red Knight, that is an option for a video at some point. I've got hundreds of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I used to play that when I was at college. But anyway, let's start planning out the pose for this character. I'm going to try the block approach. So last time when I did Shredder, I kind of like drew the pencil lines. This time I'm going to try and block out a bit more of a kind of a pose for the head and a few other bits, and then we'll see how we go from there. If anyone's got any questions as we go along, either about the process or anything in general, as long as it's, you know, kind of reasonable and no personal information or anything like that, then I'm happy to answer them as I see them. Be nice to the mods guys. I think we've only got Minecraft Transformers if he's still here today, so please don't spam and be respectful to everybody. And we'll see how this comes out for venomizing the character. Just whack a couple extra layers in and change the colour a little bit, just so I've got a bit of contrast behind it. Yeah, Venomized Toothless. The silhouette's kind of strategy. When you're doing something and you want to get more the pose down, or you want to put in a pose that's quite clear to see and proportion, sometimes the silhouette can be quite useful, especially when you haven't really drawn the character before. Coming up with a kind of a pose for them is kind of a bit tricky to a degree, so sometimes it helps to get a silhouette, get different colours, put the different body parts on different layers, and you can start. It's a bit of an easier guide than drawing the lines to see if something looks really funky or out of proportion. SCPs are space monsters. Hey Galahound, venomizing SCPs. Yeah, that's interesting. Sam Curley, Ben 10 characters as Transformers. I have thought about that. Just got to think about how to get the lore in place. I got a bit carried away looking at the lore for a couple of upcoming videos, as well as my eldest had his birthday today, but it was out for the weekend, so we kind of had a bit of a manic weekend all in all. But it's not too. It was quite fun, but it did mean that my plans for kind of what I wanted to draw for I was planning originally for today's video, I'm shifting back for a later video. So I thought I'd do a live stream and just chat to a few people as we kind of draw and come up with some character designs. Venomized Toothless. I agree. SCP-682 would probably He would probably own the symbiote and basically just take over fully. It would probably fuse with him, or he'll take the best attributes and expel the symbiote, letting it die. The hard to kill reptile is, from the stories I've been researching, extremely hard to kill and lives up to its name. Galahad19, what tips would you have in being a YouTuber artist? Tips for being a YouTuber artist. The first tip, and this is whether you're a YouTuber artist or not, is just go for it. Find something you like to draw and something you've got an interest in, whether it's venomizing stuff or it's drawing dragons or creatures. And from the Discord I've seen some amazing artwork from some of you guys, and then it's just create a channel and go for it. Find a way to record. I normally record from my iPhone 11 Pro, just whack that on record the talking side of things for that, depending on what you're going to do. Get a tripod or something to set it up to record, and just record your art. Keep an eye on the space you've got left. That's definitely a big tip. When you're not doing a live stream and you're kind of recording as you go along, screen recording, it can be quite easy to get carried away in your art, and then afterwards you kind of realize you've got the unfortunate scenario where you've run out of space and it stops recording at some point. And depending on if it's traditional or digital, you kind of lose a little bit, so just be wary of that. But I'd say just find something you like to draw, go for it, create the channel, put it out there, and just see what you can do better next time. You'll see over time, the more you're doing it, the more your art will improve, which is quite good. Let's see. That arm looks possibly a little thicker than I'd want it. Just chuck that in there. So, don't like that chest. I think that chest is a little bit odd for the angle. I know he's probably going to wear a piece of makeshift armour. I'll whack that around. In fact, let's just whack a humanoid body shape. They do have quite thick bodies looking at this. It's quite interesting. That could be an interesting one, Stephen. Turning My Hero Academia characters into SCPs and seeing what you can do with that. That'd be quite interesting. Some of them would lean to be quite funky, quite interesting. I did also like the idea of maybe taking a series that hasn't been covered yet and turning them into SCPs as well. That's kind of something that appeals to me. It's kind of I kind of like the idea of taking the genres and mixing them up like I do with the multiverse story arc. I've got to do another episode of that at some point actually. I'm torn between doing another Ninja Turtles one and bringing some of the villains into it. I've got a really cool idea for how to bring Splinter into it, Venomized, as well as the a few of the other favourites like Rocksteady, which will be quite cool. And then how are their hands? Because we want something cool with that. So they look like they've got 3 claws. So if I do a fake hand bit here, and maybe look to have a large bit there. How's that looking? That's have all the claw bits here. I think the final one, just change the colour slightly. Just add that in there as another kind of like hand bit. It's quite interesting with the silhouettes as well. They kind of look a bit weird as you go along on some bits, but once you flesh them out a bit more, they kind of start to match up a bit better. It can be fun if you're your own boss working from home. I'm unfortunately not my, well, I am and I'm not my own boss working from home. I've got a 9 to 5 job, but I suppose the key thing with that, if you are your own boss working from home, is you've got to keep to a routine and a schedule. You might be late, but it does even you find it as you're working and you're doing YouTube as well, that even if you've got the best intentions, you do sometimes end up getting everything pushed back and pushed aside because you're running late, as it were. The Derpy Pincer. Personally, I think in the Minecraft Venomized, if I do it, a Ravager, Elder Guardian, Iron Golem, and a Wither/Ender Dragon mob of my choice. There's some cool ideas. I have been looking to try and do some. There are popular mobs in Minecraft, obviously, like the Creeper, the Blaze, the Ender Dragon. So I have looked at them, but I'm also looking at some not so well known mobs, or some I can have some fun with, so like the spider jockeys and that. I've got a few ideas lined up for them, which could be quite fun and quite interesting. I think that hand needs to be a little bit smaller in size, twisted a bit. Kind of hoping to get kind of like the hand coming from the face and maybe holding a bit of the symbiote or transforming, which would be quite cool. And because I'm doing the kind of like it more landscape, so more of the screen's taken up than portrait, you'll see me shrinking it down after so often, just to make sure it fits in the space, and it's quite nice that way to check the proportions at that point. Owen Coles, I'm wanting to make YouTubers as superheroes. Who do you suggest? Pick your favourite YouTubers would be a good start. You could pick popular ones as well. So if you wanted to pick, I don't know, popular ones like Mr. Beast would be one that you could do. You could take their logos if they've got something like the blue, kind of like the blue sort of like tiger beast design from Mr. Beast's logo, and maybe make that into a superhero version of him, taking some of his features and trying to blend the two together. So that's a potential one that you could do. But ideally, if you're going to turn anything into something, the best way to start off doing it is pick someone who you like or something that you like that you're going to base it on and do, because that's one of the best ways to basically build it up, and if you're enjoying it, you'll get a much better result. Or just do something random like this and do a character you've never drawn before. My multiverse is the same as Popcross's. I think it is and it isn't. My multiverse kind of... There are similar aspects in my multiverses to Popcross's, but I don't think they completely gel together. I think it's kind of like where we had Sharp versus Nexum. They were in the kind of like a dimension that joins the two. Was my kind of thinking of it. It's like a scrap heap dimension, but the whole idea is then they both could hit a dimensional point that joins multiverse universes together, and that way we can have completely separate elements, but there could be these little points in time where you could have them joined together, which would be quite cool. And that also leads to potentially future encounters, but I'm not promising anything. I was over the moon with that crossover, so like joint bit, but there could be some future references to characters back and forth, at least if I find someone that's similar to his, or it works quite nicely, I might make it an alternative version of my version of the character. But I'll try not to do... even though our content is similar, I'm trying not to do the same, if that makes sense. It's very difficult to keep that fine balance between. It'd be so easy now to just say, do you want to see these characters versus my character versions, and just do a whole spin-off on that. But at the moment I'm looking to build the characters up, which would be quite cool. Derpy Pincer, I have a kitten asleep with me. How old's the kitten? They have kind of... Let's have a look at some of these reference pictures. They have kind of... They're kind of like bounty hunters in what they were, aren't they? They're these Star Wars characters kind of look a bit like they've got clothes that can... kind of... It's like a cross between fantasy and armour from the looks of things. So let's have a look at some of the stuff that we can do. Right, so I've got that. Do I want to put something like this underneath? Let's see how that looks. Can always change it afterwards. Nice thing about digital is the undo or the delete button. And that one would just go to there maybe. Kind of cool. I know they kind of flow behind a little bit. Nah. Let's put some legs in and see what we've got from that. A good reference when doing silhouettes, if you can do it on digital, is to use different colours for different bits. It makes it so much easier to tell what bit you're working on and to how it's kind of looking. You can quite easily do what you need to do, and layers are absolutely a godsend to try and draw something. So he's venomizing. Let's bring that leg forwards a little bit. Make it a bit larger, the area in a bit more. It's kind of character poses are kind of a difficult thing to do. You need to kind of try and get the pose right for the angle of the character at the same time as keep the proportions. And it's one of the things everybody, and it doesn't matter how good an artist you are until you've drawn it thousands of times, you're going to struggle with poses. I often do as well. In fact, I want to group these and I can just shrink them together. And once we've got the basic pose down, I will start looking into doing the more in-depth details for the character. Have they got any type of armor bits on their leg, maybe? Some kind of look like they do. Galahound 19. How's the community redraw coming along? I'm still waiting for a few more submissions on there. I have one or two picks that I'm going to start this week and for the weekend on that. I'm doing a bit of a twist, as I said in the video, but I'm not giving anything away. It's not going to be a straight redraw of the submitted monsters and creatures. I'm going to do something with them. I haven't fully fleshed it out yet, but the artwork will be starting in the next week, which will be quite cool. Let's have a look, see if we can get more references. So it looks like they've got kind of, most of them kind of wear, it's like jean, like, yeah, most of them kind of like wearing form of trousers or something on them that come down, and then they got some form of boots. Nope, Usually it's just their feet by the looks of things. Yeah, I suppose with giant lizard feet it's very hard to find boots and stuff that will they never wear shoes. I'm just noticing that Venomized Toothless. I think being the type of species they are, shoes would be very difficult to come by, especially ones that won't get shredded by the tails. Master Chief versus Thanos. That's quite cool. I do want to do quite a more in-depth illustration to celebrate doing so many, maybe on the next big milestone or something. I'm looking to do quite a more fleshed out single illustration on a video. Kind of like my Devastator versus Godzilla illustration I've got. That was more of a painter style, but it was extremely fun to do that one. And it took a few days. I did it all with the grayscale values first, which is why I think it looks quite good, and then built it up from there. But I do want to do something like that coming up some point, just to... I'll have a story of lore with it. It's just I would like to flesh some detail out in an illustration and do something that's like a really good image that we can probably give out to some of the sort of like community, whether it's from the Discord or something. It's a free download, so give back a little bit, but also do something that's fleshed out quite a fair bit. The next milestone might be 2k. That is my next subscriber milestone, and if you're new and you like what you're seeing, then feel free to like the stream, get it to be shared out a bit more on YouTube, and check out the other stuff on the channel. But my next milestone, if I can get to it, will be the watch time up a little bit. So there's going to be a few more live streams coming up over the next couple of months, and a few more fleshed out videos with the lore, so I can do some justice to some of the bits of information. I'm really enjoying the Minecraft D&D lore. I've started writing up some interesting bits for the second video in that. I just don't know when that will be released yet. Right, so the legs are kind of... I love the way his legs are a nightmare. This guy's kind of looking like he's a bit of a patchwork dragon on his legs, but I'll fix those in a little bit. Let's just get some basic shape for the legs in there. Yeah, let's cheat. Good old copy and paste. And I know the angles are wrong on the feet now. I'm going to sort that, but shit, I don't know if I saved any time doing that, but never mind. It was a nice little fun bit to do. They are quite thick, but they do kind of just come down a little bit, I think. Just want to... Well, Derpy Pincer, I'm definitely doing a Venomized Minecraft one at some point. I'm not promising it'll be this month, but it's definitely on my list of things to do, and it's definitely going to be a fun one. So feel free to leave a comment at the bottom of videos that I put out on that, and just remind me about it, and as soon as I get a chance to, I will add that to the to the mix, as it were. So I want to then tweak these a little bit, because I don't think that's quite right for his pose. So we've got a basic shape. I can tweak stuff as I go along. So let's merge all those down. Flatten the group. Just sort that leg out. A minute to move that along. Or just move that along a little bit. Make that look a little bit more uniform. So next thing I want to do is add behind his back. Should we give him a sword, or should we give him... Some of them, they seem to have these like long blaster with lance bits on the end, and some of them they've got swords. Some have got like fur type bits on the kind of like the shoulders rather than the metal. Guns, guns, guns. Yeah, I think do a poll on it. Okay, let's do a poll and see what we've got. If we get a if we get it kind of together, or similar ones, so we've got guns only, guns and sword, why not? I'll chuck that in there and we can have that too. I've put a quick poll together on this one. We're in Star Wars, so I had to add a lightsaber on there. Even if it's just dangling from his side or something, I'll create a small lightsaber type thing. I think that would be quite cool. Ronald Cornelius the Third. If you venomize the Ender Dragon, you should do it as a red dragon, but a black symbiote on it. Possibly. The colour schemes of the symbiotes would be quite interesting. I do want to kind of get away from the default dark colour symbiotes at times. Even though they do look cool and work with a lot of stuff, it would be nice to create a different colour or blended colour symbiote to kind of be unique. I think most of the colours have been used by Marvel, so I'll have to create my own pattern as well. Venomized Toothless. Well, Trandoshans aren't normally Jedi because they kill a child Wookiee at teenage years. Could make it a Sith with a Sith lightsaber. Gone for the dark side of the Force. Half gun and half lightsaber in it. Do a mace gun like Korg. Go for dude. That sounds quite interesting. But if I'm going to do a gun, I'm not very good at drawing guns, so I'll have to keep it to the references I've got. Unless there's another poll going at some point. We'll give the poll a little bit more to go for it. Right, just give it a minute or two more and then we will look to sort that. So while I'm waiting, I may as well look at some of the bits for the top of the head. So they kind of got horns like a lizard here. They got a row going through there, and they've got another horn here. Kind of remind me of fawny devils, or bearded devils, those sand lizard ones to a degree on the top of their head. That and combined with a dinosaur that looks a bit funky, which is quite interesting. And it comes down to about here. Let's place the eyes in. Oh, they have huge eyes. I don't like where that first eye is. Let's move it. Kind of looks about right. NT242. Oh, that's like a sniper rifle. A long blaster. Wow. That's quite cool. Quite detailed. So, yeah. Maybe. I call the horns on the top of the head their crowns. Yeah, they are kind of like a crown. Yellow doctor costume. Okay. Alright, let's get back to this. So, let's end the poll and find out what we've got. Guns are only 14. Guns and a sword are winning. Okay, so let's do a sword. I'll put a sword on his. I'll do a sword on his side, like a bit like a. So the side or his back. Going over the blade. See how it pulls out that way. It pulls it out here. I think I'll put the sword on his waist area, or at least the kind of bit for it can be coming down here, maybe. Don't know if that'll get in his way or not. Maybe side. I might need to change the angle of that a little bit. Yeah, that looks a bit better. I'll just erase that bit there. And give him this funky looking dagger design. Comes off the hilt. And he's got a long bit there. Don't know actually how long this sword type thing will be, but that's fine. And that can be attached to a slightly lighter coloured belt going around his waist. Why not? We'll give him a bit of a belt, make it look like it's all part of one. And with a strap bit here. Potentially. Yeah, that'll do. Suppose the next question, do we do fur? One for fur shoulder bits, so the shoulder pads, or at least one of the shoulder pads being fur, kind of like a furry texture, or one or two for it to be kind of like a bit of armor. Would be quite interesting. So do one or two in the chat. One's going to be fur on the shoulders. Two's going to be armor on the shoulders. So kind of like a bit of a, almost like a lightweight armor suit vest. Wookiee hides. Yeah. I feel bad for the Wookiees, but I kind of like the fur idea. But I'll do whatever you guys are going to do. So we'll have a look. We're almost at the hour mark, but we've got a 1 and a 2. We've got a 1. So some say armor, some say fur. If we get roughly about the same, I'll do one of each. One side can have fur, one side can have a bit of armor, and I'll probably make one of them venomized. Because we haven't actually gotten to the point of adding the symbiote to this yet, but I can draw that over at the end. Oh no, we've got the puns coming back. Okay, I think fur's gonna win, so we will do fur. But on his chest he's going to have an armor, kind of like plate. So let's have a look at doing fur. So it's kind of Wookiee hide. So I just want to give an emphasis on fur. This is more for me as a reminder when I'm drawing it, if that makes sense, for the fur stuff. Get a basic shape for it and that, just to I suppose the fur bits come up kind of like a proper backpack piece as well, don't they? Look at this. Oh, we've got the puns coming out. So he's kind of got the fur coming across there, and then I'll give him a light armor on his chest piece, which can come around here. Our bounty hunters are wearing trophies from what he's hunted and he's taken out. Yeah, I'm out a little bit. I think I'm going this way, I believe. A bit of a line to show where it's kind of curving and dipping. Kind of add. Always quite blocky in styles, aren't they? If they're armor bits, they're always kind of quite a block-like design. The puns will stay forever. Oh, I can't believe I just read that. It sounds like they will. You guys, I kind of like it and I kind of want to cry at the same time with these puns. Just, they're great, and at the same time it's, oh no, they're back. But yeah, it's all good fun. Put that for the armor bit there. Need something to hold them down, so I'll strap that down to his belt a little bit. That'd be quite cool. Oh, I put some. There we go. Something on there I didn't even realise. So we've got that. So the more kills I get, the higher the score. The score determines their place in the afterlife. If they get captured, the score resets. Wow. Galahound19, what tips do I have on creative writing? Oh, creative writing's a bit of a tricky one. I do struggle with that sometimes. I suppose the key thing with creative writing is pick something that you love the subject of. So it's something you've got to be excited about and interested in. Definitely does help a lot. I found with the Ben 10 Dragons episode that I did last time. Sorry, give me a second. So for the last one where I created Erronfold Banesworth, the main bit of the sort of creative writing was the personality of the character, and I watched a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean, which he's heavily influenced by Barbosa, but also I was picturing like the Castlevania series and the kind of like the World of Warcraft and Monster Hunter, you know, the guys in the taverns, the big old hunter guys that have survived a long time, and they've kind of they survived through the wars and they've got the stories to tell, but they're always excited because kind of like gets the adrenaline going as they retell the stories of their youth. So I kind of wanted to do that with a character. For creative writing, I'd say pick a subject that you like for your first time doing it, or that you've got an interest in, or you know something about, or whether it's the genre or the lore or something inside of it, and then I would go with that. But picture, if you're doing a narrator for instance, or if you're telling a story, picture how the story would be told. So look at what you like to hear and how you like stories told to you, or the type of characters you like that are storytellers, for example. So you've got to get the personality behind it and try and get even if you can't do the voice, talk in their voice in your head as you're writing things, and it will start sounding right or sounding wrong. And those are the best tips I can do. And if you don't like the story at the start, put it aside and come back to it a bit later. I'm often writing for the lore or the stories and videos. I've often started one and I've got a couple paragraphs in there and I've moved on to something else and I come back to it in stages. It does help a lot when you're doing stuff like that. I need to figure out how I'm going to put a gun into his hand or something now. I've just realised we haven't actually covered the gun, and we want a gun on there. So maybe I could have the gun on his back or in his hand. Venomized Toothless, you're the expert on this creature or this Star Wars character. So my question to you, I'm going to turn this around now. I've got a question for you. My question for you is, would it suit the gun being on their back or changing the gun to be like a pistol in their hand? Because all the images I've seen, they are quite two-handed weapons, and I get you can carry a two-handed weapon with one hand, and being lizard creatures they'll be quite strong, but what would best suit them, do you think? Oh, a symbiote tendril holding the gun like Agent Venom is actually a good answer. Pistol in the hand. Okay, we will find a pistol in the hand. So, do you know of a good pistol reference for Star Wars? That would be quite cool. My knowledge of the pistols and the guns used, in terms of their names, is very limited. Alpha Dragon asks, what is your favourite drawing this far? Alpha Dragon, do you mean the drawing that I've done so far on the channel, or the drawing that I've done ever? Because I've got a few favourites from the channel from earlier videos where I was doing single pictures, such as my Venomized Optimus Prime. In my personal opinion, I nailed that one in terms of the reflectiveness on the bits of metal on his arms and that from his sort of like his Energon axe that he's got. But if it's on about videos I've done like this year or recently, it's a tough one to tell really. I do like how the last Minecraft Dungeons and Dragons came out, and I think the Elder Guardian is definitely my favourite out of all of them. I just think the colour scheme works so well on that one. but it's tough to tell because I've got so many that I look at and I'm like, I really love how those came out, or the traditional ones compared to the digital. I'm really happy with how all of these behind me have come out, all the traditional ones. So it's kind of a bit of a tricky question to answer. There's quite a few. DC 17, right, let's have a look at this. Blaster pistol, let's have a look. Oh, okay, yeah, they're quite cool. Cool, I can draw that into his hand down here then, I reckon. I'll give that a go. So DC 17, it's the one that's got the most votes, so let's have a look at doing the pistol. Be interesting to do his hand through part of the pistol. Kind of like a... This is where you see how bad I am at drawing guns. I do not draw them very often, and with a reference, even if you've got a reference for a few bits of detail, it's always very difficult to draw a gun. I'm trying to get the basic shape of the gun, and I will worry about perspective later. He says, praying he gets the perspective right for later. Okay, that's a really weird blocked gun. I'm drawing the... Okay, I've got several different designs. I've got the Wookiee hand blaster type pistol, which is for trigger finger. I've got one that's got a circular bit on the end that looks like it's got a giant silencer. Alpha Dragon, I have another Minecraft D&D based video coming out at some point, probably in the next 3 weeks. I'm working on the lore for that now, but I also would like to do some more mech armor ones. I did think of SCP as mech armors, but I don't know how close that is to Backrooms as mech armors or whatever Popcross is doing for his video today. It looks like it's a mech armor type one for the Backrooms, but I do want to do something, so maybe D&D monsters as mech armors would be quite cool. I need to do my research on the D&D monsters just to make sure I get them right, but it's definitely a genre I'm quite enjoying getting the lore for. There's quite a lot of information, so it's definitely something that's quite fun. Okay, so we've got that part, so we're about an hour in and we've basically got the general form done. So let's merge this together, add a new layer, and let's start working on... Uh-oh, green screen of death again. Hang on, guys. Give me a second to just see if I can... I know, I've seen it. Green screen of doom. Come on. Ironically, it's looking fine on my normal bit of software for streaming. Have we fixed it? How's that looking for you guys? Has that stopped the green screen of death? You should just have the layer bit open and a faded down version of the character. Awesome. always a worrying point when you get that. I will have to invest in a new cable or find out what's going on with that. We didn't have it last time. We've got this time. In fact, I have another question for you guys. I'm going to create a poll, and this will be for the next live stream. Your fat blind cat. I may have to take your fat blind cat gopher dude and turn him into a character on an episode somewhere down the line. Definitely. But for the next one, I have... yes, gopher dude, the entire Discord's got a whole lot of material for him. But yeah, for the next live stream, I do have a sketchbook. Autodesk Sketchbook, the same one that ironically Popcross uses. I've had it for ages on the laptop, and I've got a big pen display I can draw on, which is what I'm using as a second monitor. I can use a sketchbook. I haven't had much experience. I did do one time an image of the Voltron member teams, so all 5 of them before Allura became took over the role as one of the paladins. So I've got all 5 paladins, and I've got Voltron in the background. It took me 3 days to do it, but I'm happy to do a sketchbook one on the next live stream, and we can see how that comes out. It'll be quite interesting, and I can show you the process on there for the differences between what I do on Procreate to what's on Sketchbook, but I'll let that run for a little bit. What am I using right now? This is Procreate right now on the iPad. So I'm using the iPad right now, but the cable is, even though it's charging well and that, something's up with it streaming to the laptop at the moment. Hence why we're getting the green screen of death. So I appreciate everyone bearing with me on that one, but we're looking to get things sorted and better on that and improve the setup. But like I say, I'm more than happy to do the Autodesk Sketchbook one. It may take me a bit longer drawing, but it will definitely be fun to use. I think Gravity Falls in the house. Level 2. Yeah, I'm also interested in doing a Hollow Knight episode at some point, potentially. So I may be doing something like video game characters as something coming up soon. Maybe taking some villains and some different genre bits so I can take a few characters in and chuck them together. Right, so now what I need to do is I need to find that reference to what they look like. So let's have a look and see what these guys look like. Zoom in on the face. Okay. I like to start around the eyes on a character because it's more fun. It's definitely more interesting to create the kind of look and feel of a character. Just trying to take basic shape of the character, well, the shape of the design I've got as a reference, and tweak it. They have really weird noses. At least this reference one does, but I'm going to base it off the nose I've got here. So if it does look a bit terrible, I will apologise now. Brown's chins. That's okay. I'm venomizing part of the mouth on this, so it's kind of like going to be a large open mouth on the character with the tongue coming out. Genius is venomizing them did win, but they do. I can see what you mean. They have kind of like a rounded mouth around the front in terms of the shape. Yeah, their noses are huge. Kind of don't want to be around Rob when he wants to sneeze, do you? So, add the... Give him scars, Wicked One. Scars. I'm more than happy for people to suggest on upcoming videos like Minecraft ones and D&D ones. If you see one of my videos that's come out and you want to see some characters in the next one, best bet to do is comment them on the videos. I'm now scheduling time. I say scheduling. I'm now putting time in to go into the comments every now and again and update my giant, and I will say giant list of in fact I'm going to make that a venomized eye. Let's have some fun. Let's cheat on some of these scales and let's put some venom symbiote bits in this character's face a little bit, because they've got kind of like these rounded mouths. Kind of like a lizardy lip. So that's the really nice thing about when you venomize something, you can just put lots of squiggly lines everywhere. Oh, he's getting a big smile here. I got told I haven't, in previous ones, I haven't made the mouth large enough for the venomized character. So I'm going to hopefully solve that one, along with its nice long tongue going back in the mouth. Let's get some nice long teeth. No, his mouth's nice and large on this at the moment now, so he's going to have his I think that's a large enough smiley mouth, or do we think go bigger? Galahound, are you on about my favourite crossover that I've done on the channel, or my favourite crossover that I've seen on YouTube? Longer teeth. Okay. Do a couple of small teeth in there, got to make it so they kind of match. How about that, guys? That looking a bit better for you all with the longer teeth? You don't know how I could get the mouth larger? I can unhinge it like Venom has, and I can do this. And we can have a really large mouth with the teeth. I will have to tidy this up a little bit for what's in here. Lineout's probably not the best stage to be playing around with these, but what about that? Ooh! Well, as it is your character, I will let you have a forked tongue, Venomized Toothless. Because you suggested it, he won the poll, so let's give him the forked tongue and let's just tidy this line up here and here. So I want that to be there. I want to come like that. Sort some of this out. That's better. Better. And you can have this long mouth there. It's the mascot raid in the Discord again, go for dude. Yeah. If anyone hasn't joined and they want to, there is a Discord server for the community. The only thing we ask you to do is respect other people and help out where you can with suggestions. Everyone's super fantastic in there, and yeah, if you haven't already joined and you want to, check that out. You will have to be old enough to make a Discord account. I think it is 13. So just bear that in mind. And there's still time to do it for the community redraw that's happening this month. You've got until the 25th, which is next Monday, so you've got a week to do the monster submission and a bit of lore about the features or abilities of the monster or something. That's going to help me with what I'm going to do with them, but I'm not giving a spoiler away. This Tandor, I can't say his name now. You mean the guy that we're drawing, what his voice would be like? Or because I'm not really sure. I think he'd have a lot of emphasis on the, like, it'd be more serpent like being a lizard, wouldn't it? It'd probably be more emphasized on, like, I could picture it like when Harry Potter was speaking to the snake, kind of like with all the emphasis on the sounds as he speaks, but I don't really know how they sound when they speak. I just think with the Venom symbiote, it would love to just add that bit on to sound a bit creepier. Ravenhack, that's not a problem. All you have to do is just join someone when you want to. It's a monthly thing. Just draw something and save it when you get a chance to, if you want. The idea is it's a bit of fun and that, and then if you can join in, great. If you don't get a chance to join in, I hope you guys are enjoying the kind of the redraws and what happens with it. It is kind of fun. I'm enjoying it and I really do like it. I've got to plan I've got to work it out a bit better on the timings for everything and how long it takes to do that, just because it does take longer than I expected last time. It took a while, and then the file to upload was so much larger than I'd expected. Go for dude. I have seen your thing about the Fat Blind Cat channel in the Discord. I can't do anything for the Discord right now. I am looking to make more mods on the Discord server just because of the time zone difference, but I am happy to make a channel for either cat pictures or Fat Blind Cat, seeing as he seems to have become the adopted mascot. You just got to give me a chance to actually do that at some point later on. But I don't mind doing things like that on the channel other than Discord at the moment, doing channels for you guys. Obviously some channels will get filtered through the community to make sure it's something everybody enjoy, but I've already noticed everybody enjoys your pictures of Fat Blind Cat and kind of gets conversations going on there, so I am more than happy to do that. about Guzzler for the Pokemon Make Arms episode 3? Possibly Galahound, possibly. I do want to use some Pokemon I haven't used before in the series. That would be quite cool. Also trying to think of a way to introduce Nexum to good old Erronfold. I can't do my voice now. Nexum to Erronfold Banesworth. I do want to introduce the two. Maybe get him to make a mech armor based off something Erronfold's kind of killed at some point. It's just one of those ones where you just got to kind of try and just figure out the best way of doing it so they interact, because I think old Banesworth will enjoy Nexum's stories, but I think also he'll be a bit more of a lively character. And I do have another narrator lined up which will get under everybody's skin out of my existing narrators. I've got a new character I will introduce on my next Demons video. I did a few close together, so I need to do a couple. I need to separate them out a little bit, but I do have a new narrator. I haven't figured out her name yet, and I certainly haven't figured out how I'm going to do the female voice, or a voice. I'm nowhere near that bit yet, but she's got a rather unique ability and it's going to be quite cool. I've got a few things planned for her story. It's just working out the introduction and build up. Make him breathe the long scar across his eye, have his face tell a story. Yes, Go for Dude, I'm going to have a female narrator on the channel taking over for the demon stuff. I thought it'd be quite cool. I just haven't gotten to the point of designing. Well, I've got a design in mind. I haven't got the point of how the voice is going to be. It's more the personality before I can do the voice. Anybody doing voicing for your characters, think of your character. A tip for you, and I've learned this with Erronfold: pitch your character's personality and then find the voice that suits the personality. Unless you've got a voice you use and you kind of know the personality off the bat, and it's one that you're really good at. I'm finding it easier to get the character's personality down and then add the voices. So as I say, Erronfold Banesworth was based on Barbosa, but it was kind of like the whole pirate bit where they emphasised like the emphasize the words where he's like what was that I said on the thing? It's like where it's like, so you want to hear a story from good old Erronfold Banesworth. Kind of like, my voices are terrible live. It takes me ages to get into the character voice. But basically, you want the characters to... It'll feel natural when you've got the personality down. The voice will come naturally. Hey Justin, that's fine. I'm just going for a while. Do we want to give him scars? Because I haven't actually drawn one in, and if I do it, I will probably do it in with the rendering, sort of like the working on the actual side of it. That's to do with the colouring bit. I'll add it in as a flat texture bit on that, but I just want to see what everyone's opinion is for scars. So I'll tell you what, if everybody wants scars on his face and a few scars on him, make it look like he's a bit more of a hunter and battle worn, then put 3 in the chat. Because what I want to do is, I don't want to keep using the same numbers. I want to kind of mix it up a little bit on a few of these. Oh, scars definitely win then. Okay, scars it will be. I'll add a few scars in onto the design as well. Try and get a few bits of the fur to be a bit matted. It's really weird drawing hair. It doesn't matter if it's on fur or it's on anything else, it always comes out. It's one of the harder things to draw. Okay, so we've got fur there, and I think the symbiote can come down his neck a little bit. Start attaching itself to part of the armour. Across his right eye, so the one that's not venomized, I'm guessing. So this eye here, yeah? Where I've drawn the arrow to. On that eye? I will put a tendril gun in. Don't worry, I'll put that in there. If I don't, remind me, because I can add it to a tendril at any point in this, which is quite cool. I think I'm not going to make that fur on this side. I'm going to change it. I'm going to put tendrils in. And we can have the tendrils kind of flowing out to be like a tendrily mass. Maybe have it kind of half fur, half tendrils. Yeah, I kind of like that. Cool. Just before I forget, I always like to do the odd. Tendril bit around the back. Okay, so this is kind of like a whole symbiote thing on here, down to about there. And everything come around under here as a symbiote. It's kind of weird, you put all these details in, and then as soon as you get symbiote, you kind of block it all out. Hey, koi fish. Glad you can make it to part of the stream. We've got a green screen of death every now and again, so it's not your internet if it goes green and starts flashing where the drawing is. It's the some technical difficulty, which should be quite cool. I'm looking to solve that for next time. So let's bring this round a little bit, and then I can add some more details to it. We've not even gotten to the colouring stage yet. We're still doing the line art, which is quite good. I'll also end that poll because that's been going a while, but it looks like my next drawing, on my next live stream, sorry, I'll be using... Cool, yeah, now I will be using, I use Sketchbook. Should be quite cool. I did dig out the image earlier from the Voltron one. I'll post it on the community post or the Discord or somewhere for you guys to see it at some point. Should be quite cool. Took a while. I was so proud of it. The only nice thing is the gradients are so much nicer to use in Sketchbook than they are in here, and there's a couple of tools to make drawing circles and that a bit easier. Right, so this armour, how are we going to do that? I want to do... I'm kind of cheating a little bit with this armor. I'm using the symbiote and the rest of it to, and where the tongue is, to kind of cover the bits I'm not too sure about the angles I've drawn, which is kind of cheeky of me being the artist, but at the same time a good tip: make it work for you. And then I can add some of the general shape of things on here to come through a little bit. Show the symbiote's kind of still moulding around. Oh, what's the favourite crossover I've seen on TV or at the cinema? Ooh, that's a good question, actually. My favourite crossover at the cinema or film? I think my favourite crossover film I've ever seen is, well, it's more a cartoon than a crossover. The story wasn't amazing, but I did like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman as a crossover, the actual movie. That wasn't too bad. That had a few comical moments in it. I can't really think of anything else that's got a proper crossover on it, though. At least not film-wise. That's a difficult one. I'll have to have a think about that one for actual live-action type film ones or main films. On that one. Koi, go for 24 hours. You can be the machine this time. I'm not drawing for 24 hours, but we'll get you awake for 24 hours. Actually, yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a good shout, Venomized 2. For Spider-Man No Way Home was really good. I did like how they brought in the other Spider-Men into that one, which is quite good. I suppose if we're doing crossover, then it would have to be Spider-Man into the multiverse. If I'm doing that as a crossover, all the multiple variations of them coming in was quite good. And Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was actually really good of how they did that, if we're doing crossovers between different dimensions. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Batman crossover was way better in the comics, but I did like what they did in the movie. Yep. There's another one there somewhere. How would I feel if Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was drawn in the style of Batman Ninja movie? Weird. I'd watch it. It'd be really cool. I'd like it by the end of it. As I was watching it, I would think this is really, really weird. And I think the only reason for that is because when I first watched it, it was a really weird style. I couldn't get my head around part of it. And then the more I watched it, the more it became, I don't know, it wasn't exactly like accepted. It's the more I got used to the style on it. And I really enjoyed how the fight scenes were animated in that. That was really nicely done. I did think they went a little bit too far with the giant mobile fortresses, transforming into the giant versions of like old-fashioned, like steampunky mech things, but it was quite cool. Right, are those scales on the... Right, okay, so they've got scales on the arm, but I'm going to cheat on those. I'm not going to draw them as scales as such. I'll put scaly patterns on the skin. After I cheat and put a few venomized bits on the arm. Just remembered what I want to do with this arm. Yeah, if you ever draw symbiotes, the only thing to really know about them is they go everywhere with the lines. The kind of drawback though is they all get everywhere. That's good to know, Alpha Dragon. I've just read your comment about Pop's new video. I definitely have a vested interest to do something cool with SCPs. Ironically, I was having a conversation with him yesterday about SCPs, just by pure chance. I commented on his D&D video, saying that, you know, his Pokemon series has inspired me to do more, do something D&D related, which is where I came up with the idea of Minecraft D&D, because it was something that hadn't been done on his channel, and it's two genres I haven't worked with on my channel at all. But it was quite we had quite a nice little chat about how cool SCPs are. It was only really briefly, but it wasn't too bad. It was it wasn't too bad. It wasn't like an in-depth conversation. It was just, you know, SCPs are cool, and my favourite ones are currently SCP-682, which is the hard to kill reptile, just because it's just an awesome character, and I do like SCP-096, the shy guy. I do think those two are some quite cool ones. But I've got an idea of what to do with SCP-006, which is the Fountain of Youth. I've got a cool idea for that. It's just one of those ones where you just got to figure it all out a bit more. But yeah, I've got a few cool ideas coming up. How's that looking for a hand? That's looking a bit creepy. I kind of want to get that to go over there and get a few more symbiote bits on it. Kind of look like his hand's melting a little bit from the symbiote. Cool. Oh, Justin, monsters as SCPs wouldn't be a bad video idea. That's actually quite a good one. I do want to do series, as I said earlier, as SCPs, which would be quite cool. I don't know what series to do, but I also want to do something with Monster Hunter creatures, not just venomize them, because venomizing is a nice easy thing for me to go to. It's one of the nice things on the channel that I do, but I find venomizing characters quite... Oh, come on. Guys, green screen of death, give me a second. I'll tell you what though, this is probably one of the weirdest streams I've had, where I've had a green screen appear and disappear at random. And I would say it's a connection issue, but I don't know how best to describe it. It's going to be fixed in a minute, I expect from that. There we go. Koi, that's a great idea, but where I've got green on the character later, possibly, you won't be able to see green at all when I colour it in. Go for Dude, it is definitely making up for not being here last stream, but I'm not worried too much about that. I'm going to persevere with this as much as I can, and even if we only get the line art and some colours down for flats, we will pick this up on another stream. Maybe I will transfer it over to Sketchbook and finish it off in Sketchbook next time. That could be something that we could do. Use the Force. I'll try to use the Force, but there's no guarantee that it'll work. I'm not a Jedi Master. If you've got any out there, please feel free to use the Force to stop the green screen of death. Possibly. Could do a blue scaled one. potentially... Oh yes, this is the bit where I draw the gun, and you can all see how terrible I am at drawing guns live on the video. I say live on the video, live on YouTube, how bad I am at doing guns. Is that question to me, Galahound, or is that to anybody about the reboots on films? Yeah, I better get that gun picture up for the blaster to actually put some details in this time. I've kind of drawn that wrong. Guns can be weird to draw along with some of the other type of stuff that you get, but it's kind of one of those ones where the more you draw them, the better you get, but at the same time, they're not a big fan of guns, really. I mean, I don't mind drawing them, and I love using them in computer games. Just, yeah. Go for dude. There are some voice channels on Discord, but I haven't set them up to be kind of what you'd class as a public channel as such. It's more a case of those channels are for mods or server things, or just literally to show the stats from YouTube in terms of when the actual bot decides it's going to work for the channel. I will happily set up some voice ones on there at some point if people want me to on the Discord, and if I do a Q&A like Popcross has done before, I will be using the voice channel on that, because that'll be quite a good one to do. Yeah, the Scarlet King is quite a good SCP. The only thing with that is there's several different SCP subcategories for the Scarlet King, and there is a rumour that all of the majority of the SCPs are the children of the Scarlet King, especially SCP-999 in some of the lore, which is quite an interesting. I have not got the perspective of this gun right. I will adapt that perspective shortly. He can have the gun in his hand, but he's more holding it. There we go. He's kind of like holding the gun down, so we just get a side view, because I can't draw guns. So I'm adapting it currently for what I can get away with, being as I'm not really sure on the gun for this other design. I hope this is looking enough like the actual DC-17 to be classed as a recognisable looking version. While we're on the subject of SCPs, have any of you guys checked out the animations you get on YouTube that tell you the lore and the story about it? And it's kind of like got this really Stickman-y style animation, but they go through the story for it, and they're a good 10-15 minutes long. They're really, really well done. I think the channel profile pictures a skull with a blue mohawk, but they're really cool. Just throwing someone else's channel out there. I can't remember the name of it, but it is a really cool one. Most of my lore has been coming from that recently. I'll tell you what, Owen, if you haven't checked out SCPs, check them out, but depending on some of the stories are quite horrific, so check out some of them. The interdimensional vending machine is quite an interesting one. I'm definitely having that in a future video of mine. Oh, is it the SCP explained? I can't remember the name of the channel. I just remember the icon. As with everything YouTube related, it comes up in your feed and you recognise it and you click on it. So part of me's wanting to change my profile picture at some point. I'm going to maybe do a bit of branding in terms of like a character design. I might use one of my narrators for it or something. I know I've got a venomized razor claw from the Predacons at the moment as my picture, which everybody knows it's me and recognises. My only daunting bit is if I change that on my channel, will people not recognise my channel by that icon anymore? Which is a good question. Their scales are diamond patterned. Yeah, they've got that shape on the arms and that, which is quite cool. So I'm going to put that in as a colour bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm doing the line art for the main blocks and the main details, but when we get to the element for the scales and that, I'm going to do that as a different coloured type of pattern element on the arm. So it's going to be the colour, so it looks a bit more blended in. Yeah, we'll blame the Sith for the green screen and Luke for being asleep on the job. I like it. Does anyone have any more questions to do with process or things they've got questions about art-wise or anything while we're here? I just thought if you guys have any questions, if they haven't already been asked, it might be worth chucking them my way while we're streaming and drawing and you've kind of got my attention to respond to them. What do I think of film reboots? I'm at two minds on film reboots. Some of them that I've seen are absolutely amazing when they reboot the film and modernise it. I've not got a problem with that. They're the special effects and that to bring them up to date are absolutely fantastic. There are some films, however, that I feel when they've been brought up to date, they've lost the essence of the film, like the original story. I think, I can't remember what it was, there was a reboot the other day that was out and I watched it and it was okay, but it lost everything that made it. Okay, the Aladdin reboot, the live action compared to the original animated version, and I know you can do more of the animated version back then, but there were certain bits in the songs or the actual animation that they could have done with CGI in the new version that made the movie just little bits that were just perfect for it, but they rebooted it and did it as a live action film, which is great. And I know they didn't want to make it identical, but it just felt like they lost some of the essence in it, and this is the problem with a reboot. You kind of lose some of what makes the film in the first place. So a lot of films now, when they get remade, the story's gone down a little bit and it's not quite as good as the original. If you grew up with the original, you'll know, and you've seen that first, you'll kind of know what I mean. It's kind of like an older generation thing, so if it doesn't apply to you, just ignore this. But there are some older films that are amazing, and if they brought them up with special effects with pretty much the same storyline or the same essence of the story, they'd be absolutely unbelievable as a reboot. And there's some that just rebooted, they kill the storyline for more action, and the special effects have gone through the roof, but just don't have the same feel, which is kind of one of the things with it. Justin's asked, is there anything significant doing the colour shape thing before you do the liner? It's preference. I've done it on this one because it gives a bit more of the proportion of the characters. So in terms of the elements of the clothes, the bits I'm putting in on this, I usually, you'll see in most of my videos, I kind of look at a reference and then draw the pose and then do the kind of like the details over the pose that I'm using. So I've got a reference to the pose, reference of the character, merging the two together and trying to tweak the pose sometimes, or sometimes I just draw it straight off the top of my head. But it's a case of doing the silhouette can help you find proportions that are out. So looking at this, they do have quite large trouser leg bits, but if I was to use that as the thickness of the legs, that would be too thick. But for the trousers, it's perfect. But you kind of get a better feel of the proportions and the shape and the pose. And in essence, if I completely took this character when I'm done and I blacked it out, you should be able to know what type of character it is. Obviously I've got the venomized bits, but if I took the silhouette at the start, you should know, based on the little horns and maybe the bit of the fur and that, if you knew this was going to be a character for Star Wars, you probably know what species it is. Or if you've seen the character before in colour and in shape, when you see the silhouette, you'll see it better. The best example is Pokemon. A lot of the Pokemon that you see has the they'll have the kind of silhouettes. Remember that? I don't know if anybody's seen it in the original series. That is the whole "who's that Pokemon?" And other than in one or two, you could always tell who they were because of the shape of the silhouette. So Pikachu's got a pretty iconic silhouette with his lightning bolt style tail. You've got some of the other ones like Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard. Because of the pose is slightly different and the angle of it, those are really good as well. So it's just one of those ones where it's kind of like a helpful tool, but it's down to preference. Sometimes it's really good and useful, sometimes it's not quite so useful. But give it a go if you're interested in it and see how it works out. Just the different colours are just my personal preference to separate bits from a solid silhouette, so I can see where I'm roughly trying to define some shapes for the details later on. I've not forgot the tendril gun. I'm going to put it somewhere over here in a little bit. Cool. I remember the Pokemon rap. It got stuck in my head for a few years. And it was cool, but at the same time it was kind of I didn't think much of it at the time, and then afterwards I was kind of like just walking down the street and all I had was the Pokemon rap going on in my head, and I was thinking, oh my god, that is so addictive because of the way they did the tune. More like a raptor. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Justin, I think by the time they got to Gen 3, there were so many Pokemon they couldn't actually do a rap to cover them all. I was amazed they got all of the other ones into the first rap. Let's have him more venomized across here. Just link that bit up. Okay. So these are quite an interesting design on these ones. They're kind of like a yeah, they're kind of like a jacket in a sense. Figure out how to do them in a minute. Right, so trousers. It's gonna have a venomized leg. Which leg should be venomized? I'm only gonna do one of them. I can either do one or two. Two. One. I'm only going to do one of them, so whichever one gets the... Oh, Galahound, I've not forgot about the scar. I'm doing that in the colouring stage. Kind of like with the patterns, the diamond shapes on the arm. It's going to be... Because it's a scar, I'm going to change the colour on the skin bit for it. Looks like 2's going to win. So we'll venomize this leg and we'll do that one first. So we'll do a symbiote. Ooh, a little bit too thick. This symbiote kind of coming up the leg. It's always kind of fun drawing symbiotes. They're, as I said earlier, they're kind of... Think of just drawing goop crawling up a leg, which is quite cool. Go for dude. Are you asking me about the live action Transformer movies, like the Dark Side of the Moon and The Fallen and Age of Extinction and The Last Night, like the new live action ones? Justin, that's cool. You've gotten an upgrade. How has your art gotten an upgrade? Have you just gotten better at it, or have you improved on, like, improving on something that you haven't done before, or have you just been drawing enough that you're kind of finally seeing the results? Go for dude. So in terms of the live action movies, I quite like them. I didn't like... I'm a big fan of Gen 1, so some of the designs I didn't like. I didn't like Soundwave's design. I know it's been modernised a fair bit in that, and it's kind of been brought up a certain way, but it's kind of a case of I really wasn't too keen on Soundwave's design. I'm a big fan of the original Soundwave, turning into an old-fashioned boombox. That was quite cool. I did like the special effects on it, and some of the stuff was amazing. Galvatron was a really weird one, how they made that. I do want to see how Unicron comes into play. I did like the little twist to the story. They've taken more from the animated series that came out, rather the sort of like 3D art style one, rather than the original live action for that. But I quite liked them all in all. I think Bumblebee grew on me. I wasn't too sure about him at the start. He did grow on me a bit. And then, yeah, I think the only one that was a bit of a weird one for me was Devastator's design. That was a really, really weird design in my mind. Just because I did not expect how they did certain aspects of it. I don't know if anyone's noticed it, but they gave him a certain part of anatomy when he was fully constructed, which I did not expect to see. But like I say, it's more a case, I'm criticising, I'm nitpicking. I'm a big fan of Generation 1 Transformers and that. I grew up with the original movie and the original TV series, so to me, they're my favourite. I do like some of the manga style ones though, but in terms of the live action ones, they're not too bad. Prime's design was quite good, and I did like the smaller versions. I think they grow me more and more of the movies I watched, but yeah, it's one of the reboots they've done a good job on, or a decent enough job for the next generation, if that makes sense. Go, dude. I know what you mean with the live action, but I was talking about some of the older stuff, like the Bumblebee movie wasn't too bad. I quite liked that one. Kind of, I just did not like the lack of continuity with the other movies, with the other live movies. There was a big bit lacking on it. Oh, that's cool, Justin. If you've implemented a bit of style from another artist and it's helped improve your art, that's always a good thing. You'll find everybody's doing that. I've done that. Even Pop Cross has done that. You get influenced by artists. You see something and you're like, that looks absolutely amazing. I wonder what that would look like with my style, or I want to give that a go. References are an absolute godsend when you're doing anything drawing related, and I'm using a reference now, even though it's probably not showing quite so well in my picture so far, but yeah, no, references are really, really useful and people don't use them enough. I would say if you use a reference as a base point and you're not doing a straight copy of an image or a reference, then that's great. You can always credit who the reference is if you want to. If you do a heavily copied piece, always give credit to whoever the person originally is for it. It's just one of the nicer things to do. Right, so now I've got to do a gun on a tendril. So the question is, what gun are we doing on the tendril, and is it going to be the end of the gun coming out as part of the tendril, or are we going to be doing, it's a rough shape of a gun and it's just a black mass? Because I know with the whole Agent Venom thing, it does come out sometimes. It just pulls guns out of thin air. Just the end of the gun, so just do a kind of like a mass like this, and then just do a, let's get this the right way, so kind of do it. I want to say something like this with the symbiote coming up there, maybe. Kind of looks like a weird camera. else we got? So we got a bit of symbiote bit coming out there, and then we will cheat. What's the best way to put this? There we go, he's got a couple extra guns. So here's the moment of truth that we have every time you do illustration. Did I miss somewhere? Did I not miss anywhere? Did I get all the lines closed? Oh my god. Sorry, it rarely happens that you have all the lines together, so you can do this. The whole concept of this is, what I can do now is I've got a solid colour base underneath, if anybody's wondering. Allows me to then add the colours on top using a clipping mask, and I can also delete that silhouette. So 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll put that bottom layer back on because we can have that on there. So what's the main colour going to be? Yeah, Raven hack, everything connected. It was quite of a shock, but yeah. So we want a. We're going to do a blue shade, weren't we? So let's have a look at doing a. Blue shade on the skin and just get a and then on top of that I want to give him a purplish scar. Does that need to be a bit darker? There we go. What do you think about that? Blue with red symbiote. Red symbiote. Yep, I can do a red symbiote on that. Oop, just falling off the edge of the table. I do want to get his eye though. They kind of have a red. What colour are their eyes? Do they vary? Are they kind of like a yellowy, kind of like a yellowy red colour, aren't they? Okay, let's sort his eye out first, because that's going to be a key one. So I want. Yep, I've got the pupil bits. I'm doing that at the end, and orangey yellow eyes. So what I'm going to do is select that. Don't want the fill bit. I just want to select that there. Do that. Go to an orangey colour. Get the airbrush tool. bring it right down. No passing, just kind of just add a little bit to the eye. I kind of know their pupils are. Kind of something like that, I think. Cool, that's starting to come to life a little bit. We need to do the arms blue. I think the name of the character is going to be decided by Venomized Toothless. He wanted us to do this character and it won the poll. So I think it's only fitting that, since he's our resident expert on this species that I know of, because I know nothing about them or names for them or anything, I think it'd be quite cool if he named the character. And then I will sort it out for adding the name of the character onto the description and stuff a bit later. Yes, naming characters is really difficult, as I found out with my Erronfold Banesworth, so I'll let you decide on the character name for this one. I have to admit, while we're on about watching stuff earlier and that, and sort of like things that I've been watching and stuff, I have not watched the second half of the Stranger Things volume. No spoilers, but it's something that I'm thinking about doing, something Stranger Things related on the channel as well. Again, it's figuring out the right lore and stuff to use for it, because once you get that sorted, it's really easy. I did like Popcross's Beasts in sort of like in Stranger Things was quite a nice one. Just need to find something similar that I can do for something kind of horror related, which will be quite interesting. How about Java, like blue Java bananas? Just use a random name generator. I quite like Java. That's quite a nice name. Maybe we should get the best names in chat and make his name out of all of that. Like Java's definitely in there, but maybe we should think about a surname for him or something else in a name for him. Oh, we just don't worry about it and it's just Java. Not to be mistaken with Jabba. He's not a hut. Okay, so I want to eyepiece here. Are we doing his claws on the venomized bit and his teeth a yellow colour, or are we doing it a greyish colour similar to the what we've got here? Java Slife. They're bone coloured. Okay, so we will do them kind of like a yellowy colour, kind of like the venom teeth, like a slight off-white yellow. this is going to be... Why did I do so many hairlines? If you want to see a YouTuber cry, ask them to do hair. And then lasso tool it afterwards. It's definitely one of the more interesting parts that we've got going. Oh, that's not on a... That's better. Rule of thumb, if you've got a clipping mask, make sure your layers underneath are all clipping masked, otherwise you'll have what I just had, where it won't pick it up properly. Okay, so that's... Another really dark brown bit, right? It's here in the belt area. It's quite cool. You're right, Ravenhack. Hair and fur is super difficult. I kind of try and cheat on mine by giving the emphasis of it, but I would like to get the hair better and more refined over time. Which should be quite cool, but yeah. I don't know if there is an albino Wookiee, to be honest. It's an interesting concept, Minecraft. I suppose that is a question. Do you get albino Wookiees? God, that's the most randomest thing I've ever asked on a YouTube live stream. I've only done 2 live streams, this one and the last one, and that's the most random thing I've asked yet. Which is quite interesting. So I'm kind of curious of the answer. There are. Oh, maybe it would be worth doing it that then. Potentially a greyish colour. Maybe, potentially. Could do that, we could see. Okay, it's 1, 2... Okay, so we're saying he's got rare fur. So more like that. I'm also going to cool. I will see how this looks like once I've gone around, gone all the kind of gun colour. say gun colour, symbiote red on. I'll tidy up the line markings on it in a bit around everything. I just want to get a general idea of the right shade of red for this character. That's quite interesting. I think you guys are on a 10-second delay to whatever I draw, roughly. So it's quite interesting to see what I've kind of done the change when I've suggested it by the time you guys look at it, which is quite cool and quite interesting. Cool. So now I've got to do is just tidy the red up a little bit for these bits. Where the red actually is meant to go. Oh, missed a spot. And then add the red onto this leg, which should, in theory, be getting there. And I'll do the bone type of colours after. That's looking good so far. So let's get the bone-like colour for the... Yeah, I think that'll do. It's quite interesting because you want to go a couple shades darker than the colour that you actually want the red to be for when you add the highlights on. But also you want to bear in mind the textury bits for when you have the shadows, so that you have it goes darker in the right kind of like shade values that you're after. Oh yes, all these lovely teeth. Justin, I did watch Generator Rex. I even saw the crossover with Ben 10 in it from the movie. I used to love that series. I thought it was quite cool, the whole concept of it, which was really good. I think 6 was probably the best secret agent going within that series. You could not go wrong with him. Teeth kind of yellowed in and looking a bit creepy. And I do think this is probably going to fall into a 2-part stream, so what I will do is I will look to get this to a point where we're happy with it tonight with the base colours on, and add a basic light direction from it, and then I'll do another stream potentially next week. It won't be Monday, it will probably be an extra stream on Wednesday next week, and we'll finish the character off with the light and the shading, and then if we've got time we can always start on an extra character or something, so you guys will be able to see the full process of this rather than just do a little bit, if that makes sense, because we've been going for about 2 hours or so now, is it? About almost 2.5 hours. And as much as I would love to, I will not survive doing a 4-hour stream again tonight with work. So I think it'll be good to get the base bits down and then pick it up from there. But it's quite cool, so I'm really enjoying doing the design for the guns and everything on this one, as well as the character design and the interaction with your I'm guessing, go for dude, Fat Blind Cat's going to be taking over the galaxy and the universe at some point. Oh, I just realised I've missed some red for the symbiote. Shame on me. Gee, should we have one of the guns just pure red? It's a super random question for you guys. Just kind of like it's still moulding out the symbiote shape. Galahound, that would depend on how complex the next character on this is. I'm assuming you mean another character within the same illustration. So within this, so we've got this guy and we've got a second character added to this. It would completely depend on how long the next one took, if that makes sense. I'm not sure how to make his Venomized cold-blooded when it's already red. Although it does look like he's just stuck his hand in the beast and just pulled it out. Ah, I've missed more red as well. It's the one thing you find when you're when you're live. You miss more areas of symbiote than you do anything else when you're doing a picture. Right, can I get another layer in? Nope, layer limit reached. So let's merge some of these down. Perfect. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Airbrushing it on, that might work. I can always give that a go. See how that looks if you airbrush a bit on. I've also realised that I should have had some more blue in contrast along here. Add a bit more grey behind it. So you're on about on the somewhere similar to that. Now Raven Hack, there's two reasons for a layer limit on this. One, this is only a 11-inch iPad Pro with a 64GB hard drive, and it's a 2018 model, so it's an older model. As such, with Procreate you get a layer limit. It's also the size of the document I use. I've got I'll just jump out quickly and then we'll jump back in. Just to show you, I'm using a A3 size 400 dpi CMYK document that's at 30 centimeters by 42 centimeters roughly. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm basically using this one here, and because of that it gives you a layer limit of something like 13 layers or something. So all my illustrations that you see on the channel are actually done with that 13 limit layer. So once I get to a certain point I merge them down, then I continue. I don't want to give them too much red with red. Orange colour, no. I think I'm going to go for like a greeny blue colour top underneath. See how that looks. That green costume looks not too bad. Obviously I need to add a bit more over the top of that to tidy things up a little bit. And then tidy a few colours on the layers a little bit, but it's overall it doesn't look too bad. Make it camo since he's a hunter. Oh, I know how you mean. Okay, so I think we've got most of it done. I think the only other thing I want to do is kind of make the kind of want to make a different colour but still dark. Maybe dark blue, just to add a bit more balance into the design of the character. That's better. Kind of a darker colour to help hide. So now I've got to do the scaly effect on his skin. So diamond shape is what you were saying, wasn't it, Venomized? So do I have anything skin diamond? I don't have diamonds, but I do have something that might work. In fact, let me just sort this bit out first, because this Venomized stuff needs... I've got a lovely texture I kind of use. It's going to look a bit weird to start with. But this nice little texture, I've done it on a few spots. Gives that kind of gritty pattern for a symbiote. Yep, diamond pattern for the arms, I've not forgotten. Just need to bring a few layers closer together. So the arms here, I need to create a diamondy pattern on. I want a darker blue. Have I got a diamond pattern I can use? Where's the organic? I've got a lot of brushes on here, but there are some elements that kind of can be done. Noise, old skin, rough skin. Let's just do old skin on those a second first. That one. Oh, that's a different layer, that's why. That's fine. That one. That one. One. So I'm going to do a bit of texture first. Wow. That. Oh, that's why. Mental note, make sure you're on the right layer. It helps dramatically going forwards if you're on the right layer when you change your layer feature. That's much better. And then for the arms, we want a diamondy pattern on top of it that's darker. So yeah, I know he's not a flag, I did it on the wrong layer, but yeah. So I need to now do the diamond pattern on him. So I just need to figure out the best way of doing that, because you said it's more like a crocodile pattern. I don't know if I've got a brush that can do that, because that'd be quite useful. I got brushes for almost everything, which kind of cheats, but kind of. diamondy shape. So you get to see my entire brush collection for everything I've got, from brushes I got from Redraws to a load of other type brushes that I got. Just trying to see if I can find one that works with a similar pattern to the diamond shape. Nope. Okay, we'll draw them on. So they're a diamond shaped pattern. That's okay, King Corn, don't worry about it. So diamond shaped patterns, kind of like draw a couple of random diamondy shapes in. And then we're going to have the fun. So merge down, duplicate. Goes all the way across the hand as well, doesn't it? I can merge down. I can then erase some of the ones that are around the outside. Yeah, Ravenhack. Procreate has a load of tools for texturing and that. Sketchbook does as well, but most of them are in that library that you have to download, and even then there's not a huge amount, although I'm sure you can create custom brushes within the sketchbook setting, so I think they've both got what they need. It's just a case of Procreate definitely does seem to have a few more readily available ones. Vivid light. Might have to change the colour of these for a little while, but kind of tricky getting diamondy shapes for the legs and then getting them to work. But once you get a couple and you offset them a bit, you can kind of just the slow repetitive process at the moment of duplicating what you've got to make the make everything fit exactly where you want it to. Let's do that vertically. Nope. That'll do, it's on his foot. I'm not overly worried about that. What I want to do is take... Okay, that can merge down to that one. That can duplicate. That can merge down now, and that one can come all the way up to the arm. it down slightly. We'll just raise the extra bits that we don't need. I think we'll leave the face how it is. I don't think it needs any extra scaly bits on its face. Just next to the symbiotes on it. So the only other question is, do we put the classic symbiote pattern on his chest? And how I mean is something like that. And I'll just erase the, oops. Erase the excess on the armor. Does that colour his horns? His horns. Which horns? The horn up here or these horns here? Because if it's these ones, wow, definitely not the brush I was expecting. Because if you're on about these horns, they are the right colours. Welcome back, Koi. I'm still going. So these ones here, I'll go for, are the right colours for what they should be. Looking at the picture. Colour the crown. So what do you want it to be for the crown then? Am I making them a darker colour or something? Because from the references I've seen, it's pretty much the same colour. I could make them a slightly darker shade. Maybe if I maybe if I do it like these, kind of like a darker blue. A lighter blue. So like that. Oh, too far back. Minecraft says black. I don't really do straightforward black, but I can do a... that colour. Okay. Darker. So what about that colour there, darker then? So it's got the kind of like that effect. Cool. So the next thing I do is I merge all of those layers together. Oh, green screen of death. It's back. There's definitely a dodgy cable somewhere I will sort out for the next one. I will definitely have to sort out a new cable for the next stream on the iPad. But what I will also do is I will do the next one on oh, come on. Has it stopped? Are we successful? Okay, cool. So I will figure out what's going on with this for the next stream and we'll sort it. I do apologise again for the slight technical hiccup, but on the plus side, it's what makes a live stream live. Technical errors that you don't get to see on my normal videos. So I've got a noise brush I tend to put over everything to get a bit of shadow on. And then I tend to do another layer on overlay, and I tend to put where the light's coming from on it. Yep, definitely, Koi. Live streams, anything's possible, but thankfully even though anything is possible, not everything goes wrong. I say that now. Touch wood. But yeah, general gist is it's not often too bad sorting bits out and just adding a few lighted areas up so that we've got these. And we're probably close to stopping very soon. I just want to check two things before the next stream on this. I will probably just start shading in the head slightly and then we will call it a day on this one. I just want to make sure that the shading effect works how I want it to. So this is going to take a while to shade in with the detail, but it'll be so worth it in the end. That's what I'm thinking. Now go for dude. This is where the beauty comes in. The venomized eye is going to have its own. I'll show you quickly here, but I'm going to probably erase this bit. It'll get its depth from the light and the shadows, so the shadows coming in and that for it. You'll see it a bit more on the other side in a minute once I finish doing the few bits that I'm doing, just to give a bit of a test on the colours for this, because I'm just doing a super quick test of the lighting bit. This is my part of my process that you don't always see on the videos. So I just test it out a bit to add some more depth to the piece. It also allows me to fine-tune the opacity of the layer, start bringing to life the character a little bit more. But I think what we'll do is we'll leave it there for now, mainly because of the green screen of death. But we'll leave it here for now, and we'll pick this up next Wednesday, even if I've got to move this on to I'll have a look to see how well it works if I move it on to Coral Painter, not Coral Painter, Sketchbook. But if failing that, I will do this, continue this one on a stream, and I'll get a brand new cable in for next week so that we can have that sorted. But yeah, I think this one's going to come out really cool with those textures as well, looking at the difference between that. But it's one of those weird ones where the colours will look bland until you start adding the shading onto it, and then it should start coming to life. I will, but first I'm going to put that Java scan Retro Live, is that right? On the file name as well. So we've got that there, and then we'll put it on the top corner at the end. King Corn is going to be next Wednesday, sorry, next week, so it'll be the 27th. I won't be able to do another live stream this week because I'll be prepping for Friday's video. I've still got to finish that off, and I've got to start on the community redraw, at least planning some of that in for the submissions. But I will do another live stream, and we'll come back to our lovely Java character on the 27th. I will put that in ready for being finished off in that, and we'll do it on probably a similar time on that Wednesday, so it's not too late, but we'll have that going, and within probably about an hour or two we'll get that finished off, which would be quite cool. Thanks, Koi. It's been a good stream. It's gone quite well. The bit that I'm dreading the most on this to render is the fur. We might save that till last, just because fur is fun, but we'll see how we get on with it. Definitely going to get a new cable to stop the green screen of death for next time. Go for dude. There's the full body for you of him currently, which is quite cool. One thing I will probably do on the character, just so you guys are aware, and it's just because it's a small thing, is I'll probably go around the silhouette and just erase the bits that are stuck in here and the bits where you get this extra line coming along. I don't know if you can see it. I'll see if I can highlight it on here. So it's these bits here that you can see lighting up. I usually just go around and erase them off the base layer that we've got. So I'll just tidy that up for the next stream. Literally just take out those two bits, that bit, and just go around the entire outline of the character, so when we add a background we don't get any of those weird bitty bits. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Venomized Toothless. I had quite a lot of fun doing this. As I say, it was an impromptu stream, so I had no idea what I was going to draw beforehand, which kind of added a bit more fun to it, and it was quite good getting used to using the poll for the options on the characters. So I think I will do another randomized live stream at some point where we don't really have a set plan and we just take us as a couple of suggestions, you guys vote on it, and we take it from there. But it's definitely been a lot of fun. I'm just laughing at the, now I've got to draw the fat blind cat. Go for dude. I will draw him at some point in one of the stories, but I'm not going to tell you when. I'm not going to tell you which lore or which episode. I will just randomly throw him into it and create him as a character. That is what I'm going to do. I just have no idea when. What else have we got in here? Have we got anything else? Full body view. Cool. I think, unless anybody's got any more art type questions, we'll probably stop it there and call it a just under 3 hours. We'll call it an evening on this one, and we'll pick it up on the 27th. Go for dude. Yes, I'm not sure how to pronounce that to the emphasis of what you're saying, but I get the gist. Cool. Well, thanks for joining the stream, everybody. If you enjoyed it, then smash the like button, and yeah, I will see you all on the 27th to finish off Java, our Star Wars Venomized character.